Una know say me no sabi talk wetin me no hear. Na only wetin me hear, na me dey talk say, see wetin this person talk oh. Una see wetin be say our Amy local papa dey talk so. I no know. I no fit hear am before. Like, even wetin dey come out for im mouth, I no fit understand am. But wetin I understand say the commenters they say he has promised the same last year, and up till now there is nothing that he has done. So how he want a better the fuel for the country? We be say we go defeat they get the good access, Mona hear for herself, because waiting in talk in English was not clear to me, and I couldn't grab anything. When I grab, I gladly say it out.
On Monday, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, during the inauguration ceremony at the State House in Abuja, emphasized the urgent need for Nigeria to utilize its vast natural gas resources in the transportation sector.
If we can enhance our energy competitiveness and bring about transformative changes like this, we would definitely be able to achieve the prosperity that we are working hard to accomplish for our people. These buses, along with the CNG and being convertible, is very encouraging and promising to enhance our transportation system.
All right, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has kept his promise. I mean, it was even in the nationwide broadcast on August 1st, announcing that, this was going to happen, and it has happened. But there are 30 buses. Some Nigerians have said, how would it be shared? Would it be shared one to each state? What about the remaining 6 states? But there are more reactions that have trailed the story. Let me take this one from Fizz, who wrote, August 2023. Nigerians were promised the same to ease transportation and reduce burden of subsidy removal a year after. Our number one and number two men in a nation of over 200 million people gather to celebrate 30 CNG buses. It's even termed groundbreaking plan. Where are we headed in Nigeria? I'm sure you know the mood of the nation. People will react to this type of story because we've always talked about palliatives not being what we need. Well, in the meantime, the NNPC also said that it donated about 10 buses. This is their tweet here. They wrote, in its continued efforts to support the federal government's drive towards deepening compressed natural gas utilization nationwide, the NNPC Limited, through its corporate social responsibility arm, NNPC Foundation, has donated 10 CNG buses to cushion the effects of transportation on Nigerians. Let me take some reactions to this story. This person is James. He wrote, we joke too much in this country. What Nigerians want is simple. Supply crude oil to Aliko Dangote refinery for us to have enough energy to run the country, boost economy, and reduce inflation. After then, you can dash your 10 CNG buses to foundations. This is not too much. Nah. Another Twitter user wrote, get out of this usual business of donation and stick to your regulatory role as a national institution. Focus on bringing petroleum retailing to underserved communities in the Riverine area in collaboration with the NDDC to forestall the desire to steal and trade in crude oil. Another person wrote, where does NNPC, a government entity, get free money from to donate 10 buses? Only in Nigeria do you see CBN donating money to a certain cause. Not that it is not a good venture, but how does a government agency owned by all Nigerians donate to whoever they want? NNPC said it, that, it's their social corporate responsibility, which a lot of, limited liability companies, do. But we can't blame Nigerians for asking this type of questions. But Rufai, we have, 30 plus 10, that's 40 CNG buses at this point. You know, we have always advocated for CNG anyways, but, you know, I'd like your response to some of those Twitter users.
30?
Yes.
Plus 10, plus I think about close to another 1,000 kits, plus another one that Jet produced recently. I think there's a couple of hundred buses. You know, some will say it's admirable. But the question is, when the president announced the CNG rollout a year ago, would you honestly, in your heart of hearts, say that we have met those thresholds? Can you see the pervasive effect of CNG buses in our society? The answer is no. It trickles. For a country, if my stat serves me right, that has close to over 10 million cars on the road and all of that, if my memory serves me right, or close to that level, or close to that number, I don't know, maybe between 5 to 10 million threshold of cars on the road, and you are having about 5,000, but it's not going to do so much. So what they can also do is, number one, ensure the full value chain. They started some level of conversion. I hear Naseni say they want to convert, give a 50% slash on conversion. Why not and if not? The goal during President Buhari's time was 5 million cars to be converted. The president lastly announced 1 million cars. We have not gotten there at all. And most importantly, how do we ensure constant supply of CNG? There are not enough stations. Yeah, they launch trickle of stations here and there, but that's not the pervasive nature of things. So how can we in the coming years double up upon that? You talked about training this morning. Very essential. In fact, my mechanic has gone to, shout out to City Mechanics, has gone to, I just had to plug in good guy, GD. I mean,
you've told me to go meet
mechanic gives you heartbreak. So GD of City Mechanic is a good mechanic in Ikeja.
He has to pay you for this.
I'm sorry, but I had to plug it in. But placement, but the truth has to be said. All mechanics also should be able to get this training. How can we pervasively? We can also use the training on how to do fix CNG car as a national empowerment for people that have no skills. Train them up on these skills and make this bus largely available. We have not gotten to the threshold yet. But another thing is, how do we even bring those in the ecosystem into this 250 billion presidential CNG initiative? It's not going to scratch them. I've talked to many people in this ecosystem. We're saying we're not even scratching the surface at all. So how can we ensure that is even more? But yes, kudos, but there's still a lot that has to be. It's still a far cry. Somebody will be thinking 1 year after, we should at least be hitting 1 million in terms of exposure for this CNG thing.
I also like the conversation of moving away from, you know, fuel as well. I mean, with the whole CNG. I mean, we're a gas-producing nation. Why not embrace it as well? But, you know, the conversation with the NNPC donating 10 CNG buses also, you know, it got a lot of Nigerians angry. I don't know why. I mean, it's also the conversation about, you know, NNPC underperforming. You know, we talked about this earlier, where protesters were out protesting against the NNPC bus. Meanwhile, President Bola Tinubu has also been advised by the Conference of Nigeria Political Parties to sack the chief executive of the Nigerian petroleum company, Mele Kyari, over allegations of subsidy scams, importation of substandard petroleum products, and the mismanagement of the Port Harcourt refinery. Well, in a statement signed by the Deputy National Publicity Secretary, the CNPP said it is time to hold NNPC Limited accountable by immediately suspending Mele Kyari and independently probing the subsidy scam and other allegations in the Nigeria's upstream and downstream oil sectors to save the economy and minimize hunger. I mean, this is a coalition of political parties, so it's not like it's one particular party calling